Hello, and welcome to this broadcast, which is live on this rainy day. This is a thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to Beamer, Tom, Ayla, and Vim for your support. And I'm just going to go over some of my projects that are active or have been completed as of today, which is May 5th, Sunday, 2019. My five main active current projects are two novels, two paintings, and one show. So I'm still working on an Irish romance, an echo romance, druids painting, goddess painting, and various SCOD shows and interviews. And other back burner projects include 10 sketches, 5 short stories, 5 illustrations, 5 songs, and remix compilation recordings, as well as new show ideas, brainstorming, etc., etc. But that is, of course, what I do. That is my work. So, some of these things bleed over. I spend several months working on some of the long-term projects or years, and then some of the short-term projects I can do in a day or so. So, my goal is to earn over $100 in monthly income for this work by the end of 2019. That may be ambitious, but I think it's reasonable, considering what the cost of living is. So as I can pay my bills and stay focused on producing more quantity and quality projects and pay friends for their help. So that's the goal. And now $100 a month won't cover cost of living. And so it won't really allow me to save much for that, but it will be a step up from only $40 a month. But that, of course, depends on me getting more sponsors rather than trying to get individuals to pay me more. I would rather have more sponsors than less sponsors. I think it's more democratic to have more supporters, more fans than than relying on a few wealthy patrons. I mean, even if I had a millionaire as a patron and I was just doing work for the millionaire, I don't know. It would be interesting to explore the ethics of that. But, like, I don't know, Michelangelo or, some of the greats of history, it would be interesting. That would be a good project to study the famous painters, the famous artists of history, and what kind of support they had, and if it was just one person, and then how that relationship was, with the people, their clients or the people that finance them. That would be interesting. But I feel like as an artist and as somebody who prefers art to math, doing that book really pushed my limits as far as my ability to focus on, let's see, mathematics or financing, numbers. The SCOD book of economics was really a challenge for me, and I think it was worth doing, and so let's see. Another one of my statements recently is a mission statement for me is I'm an artist sharing income with other artists. So that's what I've been doing, and I would like to continue to do that, but actually have income to facilitate that. Like as it stands now, I still do projects and I still pay other people, but to get that money, I have to do things that are not in keeping with necessarily my production of the projects. So, like selling possessions that I already have on eBay that don't really have to do with SCOD or other artists, and work in various other ways. But I guess some people can only dream or fund their dreams through doing other paid work for people that they don't really necessarily want to work for, or that they don't enjoy doing. That work is just to fund the dreams. And I've always had a problem trying to sustain that level, the level, a level of enthusiasm for getting jobs which I don't enjoy, as opposed to trying to do work that I do enjoy. And what work is a fascinating exploration, because to do animations or to do books, to do videos, to do recordings, these are the hobbies, and these, so how much do you enjoy them? There was an interesting quote that I heard recently that was, work and fun don't go together unless you're a clown. But of course, the funny thing about doing comedy or entertaining people is that you are a bit of a clown to various degrees. You are making yourself seem foolish a bit by putting on acts, by doing things, not just for yourself. You're getting some fun by doing it, but you're also trying to share what you're doing with others. And so these are the issues that I deal with every day. So I dream of having enough income to keep sharing with friends like I do. I like to pay them as artists and still have enough for me to live on. This alleviates some of the stress of competition. So rather than, always having to feel like, well, I have to be better than so-and-so so that I can get the income instead of them. The myth of scarcity is interesting because actually economics depends on scarcity, so it's not entirely a myth, how much do we actually have the ability to all be successful? I think that's an interesting discussion, and I can't really do that here, but perhaps I'll find somebody to talk about that with again. I did with Ben Harrison, and whenever I interview people about their definitions of success, this will inevitably come up. So thank you to my sponsors for helping make my goals a reality as much as they are already. Beamer, Tom, Ayla, and Vim. And also supportive family and friends who I don't publicly recognize usually to protect their privacy as I seek to alleviate my financial burden on them. And of everybody who's supported me in the past by buying my books or being a sponsor like Tammy was. And we did a great sci-fi show together, and I will do that again if she wants to, call me up on the phone. But Facebook is not the platform for me to get into debates. I don't know if there is one, unless I was paid to do the debates. I don't enjoy arguing with people that would rather be friends with. Just waking up to find arguments on basically the door to my room, or my page, which is sort of like my public journal, I suppose. But so I try to be clear about that I don't go onto other people's pages and attack them or criticize what they're doing. I would rather them do their own thing and express themselves on their page, even if they want to say things that I don't approve of or whatever. Okay. So when I document reality for the sake of history, it's not just about edited perfection of selective quality, but more importantly, a quantity of examples to represent a range of accurate expressions of being. So when I say that, in the tradition of my grandfather, Albert Manussi, Dr. Manussi is the St. Augustine historian of fame that, really was a very good historian. He lived to present history as accurately as possible for a minority of population, the Menorcans and the Spanish in America. So I constantly have to bring this up because a lot of people don't recognize it still. But he tried to make clear that St. Augustine was the first colony in what we call the United States today. So before the Jamestown, before Plymouth Rock, of course, before Plymouth, there was St. Augustine, and it was Spanish. The other two, were basically English. Okay, so the main problem, let's see. I'll just say, an adult may have better skills than a child, but is the value of a child only in their potential, or do they have value in being what they are? So another philosophical question. I try to ask, as many questions as I can, and this, of course, has gotten me into trouble, in school and in jobs. But I think it's important, and it's I think one of the main themes of modern art and postmodern issues as well, is to what the value of human life is as we're automated, and as photographs can replicate reality better in many cases than painters can. So as our jobs get replaced by we're supposed to be celebrating that by, oh my gosh, we can take more vacations, and that was what it was always done in the advertising was, oh, you need the latest dishwasher because that way you can spend less time on doing dishes and more time doing the things you love, like spending time with your family. Of course, that's the advertising. And so why we can't do that, why we're working harder than ever, why efficiency is up, like why, longer hours are needed, why the pay can't keep track with the cost of living. I mean, I think it is a problem, and I think that we probably shouldn't value human life, specifically human life, on how much a person works, because it's very problematic when you get into disabilities. And you can say, well, that person can't help it. So we got to give them a free pass. Well, it's interesting. It really is interesting. The more we think about what the purpose of life is about, and what are the goals in life? Is it the Protestant work ethic certainly has served me well to produce work as I torture myself and constantly berate myself for not producing more. That anger has helped me to produce. But again, this do we want to be angry all the time? So these are interesting subjects, and I will explore them further. The same question can be asked regarding any living being, of course. So the main problem with my financing so far has been I tend to give my friends more than I take from them, so it depletes my savings. So I have to cut way back until I get back in the black. And so it will take years of getting a few dollars a month net profit before I can pay more friends anything close to what their art or music is worth again. So the issues are much larger than myself, and I realize that. That's what I found out by writing that book on SCOD economics. So book sales are way, way down, and my art and book money have never been enough to live on alone, but I will continue to do my work because it's what I love, and it's not that I'm that much better than anyone else at doing, writing or doing art. It's more like it's the best I can do. So, I realized I'm not better at doing architecture than doing art. I feel like I'm better at writing and doing art than I am at architecture. That's why I've shifted my focus. It makes me happier feeling like I can do better, or at least feeling like I'm happier doing them. So that's interesting. Did I want to become a more miserable, more angry person? And I said no. I'd rather be a happier person that's nicer to people. So that's why I do this. I was paying models, but no one was paying me for the art that I did of them, of the models, even in books. So I had to stop offering pay. Now I get about $40 a month gross profit, so I can barely afford to continue my own work. I rely on gifts and random one-time sales to pay bills. I would say, if you do not have $1 a month to pay me, something must be really wrong, with your income, right? But a friend said that to me, and I had to agree that something was probably really wrong with my income financing to not feel comfortable pledging $1 out of my income to help other people, right? And so that's why I can't do that at this point. I can't take from the $40 until I have a net profit, and some it just doesn't make any sense. So I've got to really stick with that and be dedicated to increasing the income for better output. So working harder is not the problem, as many people tell me that they feel I'm prolific and accomplish good work constantly, and that's very nice. I was able to purchase several art pieces worth over $300 total last year, but again, it's not justified. By if I were to hire an accountant, they would scold me. You know. So let's see, ecological investing. All right. So do I want to talk about the other projects and awards? Well, I was glad to give out some SCOD Green Awards to Beamer for his solar panels, and to Mystic Meadows for their preservation of wildlife, and microgreens to Tam Tam this year. I wanted to recognize their achievements for, you know, uh, helping the environment, and even though some of them were sponsors of me. So, and then the year before, 2018, the Green Garden Award went to Tom Chuckles for his excellent organic gardening in his backyard, which I documented also in photographs, and he has taken wonderful photographs of them too, and shared his produce. Green International with Priestess Nina of Canada, thank you for sharing your music with me. And Solar Pagan, Jenny Wren, for having solar panels on her house, and a Community Economics Award to Vindoni Wood Fairy of Missouri. In 2017, there was an ecological protest grant and an award granted to Hands Across the Potomac. So my sponsors help me to fund SCOD and give to other people who are helping with environmental causes and other things. So it helps me be active to feel like I have income to be able to be there to support various other people. So Jessie East was a former student of mine at Shepherd College, and she went on to be a big player and organizer with that protest. The Green International Award went to Samantha Simmons for her excellent SCOD poster art. And a Green National Award was granted to Ayla of the Hill People for her SCOD group work and projects. So thanks again to everybody that's been helping me to do what I do. And please spread the word and try to encourage others to pitch in, maybe only $1 a month, but I guess it's got to be like $3 since they take a dollar, But what PayPal and Patreon take about $1 each. I don't know. So anyway, but thanks to whatever it is, whether it's $5, cup of coffee a month. So hope you are staying warm and can actually take a vacation this year, or if not, enjoy the work that you're doing. And I will try to do the same. So thank you very much, and goodbye.